I'm Marina Guzman Escalera, and my team is conformed with Nora Martinez Marqueda and Donovan Levi Burgos Garrido, and we are going to present the audio lingual method. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the description of the method. Well, the audiolingual method is a method using in teaching foreign language, and it's based on behaviorist theory, which postulates that certain traits of living things, and in this case human, could be trained through a system of reinforcement. The correct use of the trait would receive positive feedback, while incorrect use that would receive negative feedback. Also, the idea is for the student to practice the particular construct until they can use it spontaneously. The lessons are built on static drills in which the students have little or not control on their own output. So the teacher is explaining a particular response and not proving the desired response will result in a student receiving negative feedback. And this type of activity for the foundation of language learning is indirect or opposite with community language teaching. Well, now my partner Livy, but it's going to talk about approach.
The theory of language underlying audiolingualism was derived from a view proposed by American linguists in the 1950s, a view that came to be known as structural linguistics. Linguistics had emerged as a flourishing academic discipline in the 1950s, and the structural theory of language constituted its backbone. Structural linguistics had developed in part as a reaction to traditional grammar. Traditional approaches to the study of language had linked the study of language to philosophy and to a mentalist approach to grammar. Grammar was considered a branch to logic, and the grammatical categories of Indo-European languages were thought to represent ideal categories in language. A more practical interest in language study emerged as linguists discover new subtypes and new patterns of linguistic invention and organization. A new interest in phonetics, phonology, morphology, and syntax developed. A sophisticated methodology of collecting and analyzing data developed, which involves transcribing spoken utterances in language phonetically and later working out the phonetic, morphological, and syntactic systems underlying the grammar of the language.
Well, about design, autolinguistics demanded a complete reconstruction of the foreign language curriculum. Like the 19th century reforms, they advocated a return to speech-based instruction with the primary objective of oral proficiency, and dismissed the study of grammar or literature as the goal of foreign language teaching. A radical transformation is called for a new orientation of a producer is the main and a through house cleaning of methods, materials, text, and tests is unavoidable. Now choose subject matter and list with matter. Well, in subject matter, we have the teacher is going to play a song so that the students can listen to it, and after that they can sing a song. And in linguistic matter, we have the students will be able to listen to the English pronunciation of words through a song, as well as having a new vocabulary. The point of this is the students listen to the song They can listen an audio, and they can have a better pronunciation because they are actually listened how the words is actually in the pronunciation with an activity, and it's reconforting with a song. Well, in this we have a learning task and teaching activities. Well, we have the vocabulary audios to listen and repeat, oral participation, learning a song. The type of learning and teaching activities, um, well, the dialogues and reels form the basis of audiolingual classroom practice. Dialogues provide the means of contextualizing key structures and illustrate situations in which structures might be used, as well as some cultural aspects of the target language. Dialogues are used for repetition and memorization, correct pronunciation, stress, rhythm, and intonation are emphasized. After that dialogue has been presented and memorized, specific grammatical patterns in the dialogue are selected and become the focus of various kinds of drill and pattern practice exercises.
Well, about the role of learners, learners are viewed as organisms that can be directed by skilled training techniques to produce correct response. In accordance with behaviorist learning theory, teaching focus on the external manifestation of learning rather than an internal process. Learners play a reactive role by responding to stimuli and thus have little control over the content. Pace pace or style of learning. They are not encouraged to initiation interaction because this may lead to mistakes. The fact in the early stages learners do not always understand the meaning of what they are repeating is not perceived as a drawback for by listening to the teacher imitation accordingly and responding to and performing control tasks, they are learning in a new form of verbal behavior. Well, about the teacher roles, in audiolinguistics is in a situation language teaching. The teacher's role is central and active. It is teacher dominated method. The teacher models the target language, controls the direction and pace of learning, and monitors and corrects the learner's performance. The teacher must keep the learners attempting by variable drills and tasks and choosing relevant situations to practice structures. Language learning it's seen to result from active verbal interaction between the teacher and the learners. And the next slide, please. Well, the role of instructional materials in the audiolingual method assist the teacher to develop language mastery in the learner. They are primarily teacher-oriented. As a student's textbook is often not used in the elementary phases of a course where students are primarily listening, repeating, and responding. And this is the stage in learning exposure on the painting on the writing work may not be considered desirable because it distracts attention from the oral input.
Oh, well, as a conclusion, we have about audio linguistic hopes that language learning is like other forms of learning. Since language is a formal rule government system, it can be formally organized to maximize teaching and learning efficiency. Audiolinguism stresses the mechanism aspects of language learning and language use. The similarities of the two methods reflect similar views about the natural language of language learning, though these views were in fact developed from quite different traditions. Um, well, we have the references, and Nora is going to explain about the activity.
Well, about the activity, you need to do an activity in which they will learn the song of Yellow Submarine, the reels, and they must write in their notebook 10 times each word to memorizing the words that you don't know. And that's all for my part.
And that's all for our presentation.